I've just recently returned from the English Wine Producers Trade Tasting in London, which is an event which seems to get larger and more successful with each year that passes. This time around I was particularly interested in getting some information on a wine from Chapeldown. It's their Coty Coeur de Cuvée 2013, which is the first English wine to retail for a three-figure sum. And that's three figures for a bottle rather than a case, just in case you were wondering. So I began by meeting with the Chief Executive Officer of Chapeldown, that's Frazer Thompson, and I asked him what's so special about the way that this wine is produced.
The wine is called Coeur de Cuvée, so at the heart of the press. We take our best vineyard, which is called Coty. It's on the North Downs. It's a chalk vineyard, about 18 inches of loam over a chalk base. We've been growing there since 2007, so it's moderately well established, but it is our best site, and it produces the most mineral, beautiful, clean, fresh, particularly Chardonnay fruit. So this wine is made from 100% Chardonnay. The normal amount of cuvée that you take from a ton of Chardonnay grapes would be about 530 litres. In this particular case, it's the heart of the press, so the first 50 or 60 or 100 litres or so that you press from the grapes tends to wash the grapes. So we wait till that process is over, and then we get the cleanest middle heart cut of the wine. So only 150 litres of that total ton of grapes is used to make this wine, so it's the heart of that press. We then wild ferment that wine in oak barrels, so it's about the most expensive and dangerous technique you can have to make a great sparkling wine, and it's from the 2013 vintage, so also a very good vintage for us at Coty. And the net result is, having spent some 3 years on its lees, we think it's ready for release. It will get better, but it's now the most extraordinary, I think, the most extraordinary English wine that's currently available in the marketplace. Certainly, it's very exclusive. There were only 1,600 bottles that were produced.
Well, we'll be asking some other people to taste it later on. I'm sure you think it's a fabulous wine. One of the things I wanted to ask you was, you say this is the 2013 vintage.
Yeah.
So from what you know about the 14, 15, 16, is the expectation that this will be a wine that's produced in the next following years?
Yes, it will. As English wine matures, so it will produce better and better wines from different vintages. The one thing we do know is that we've got something very special in this Coty terroir. It's a unique chalk soil, and that's why we separated it out slightly from Chapeldown. It does make some of the most extraordinarily minerally wines, and this is the first example of that from a sparkling wine perspective.
That was Frazer Thompson from Chapeldown Wines giving a great explanation for how Coeur de Cuvée is produced, and as you'd expect, he's a great enthusiast. But what do expert wine tasters make of this wine? I was fortunate enough to meet up with Joe Wadsack, so I asked for his opinion.
So, my name's Joe Wadsack, co-presenter of BBC Food and Drink, and now with Phil and Holly Willoughby on This Morning. I'm here tasting a glass of wine. This wine's from Chapeldown, which was the first floated wine business in the UK. Currently certainly the most successful, I would say. And they're a million bottle producer. They're a significant player in the international field. I've just been to Tokyo, and you see his wines in bars, so it's wonderful. But he's released this new drink. Tony, if you'd like to pass it, I'll just grab a bottle. This is a wine which he's released as Coeur de Cuvée. Frazer's nothing if not innovative and bold. And here's a sparkling wine that he's going to release for £100. This is Coty Coeur de Cuvée, North Downs of Kent. It's a 2013 vintage wine. What's special about this is that people talk about England having champagne soils, but in fact there's only bits of England that have champagne soil, and Coty is in fact one of those bits. It's actually pure chalk. It's their most prized terroir, and it makes shabby like Chardonnay still as well. But this is a fizz they've made. This is their first Coeur de Cuvée, or Curly Cuvée, that's what my friend calls it. Coty 2013. What does it taste like? Well, it's wild ferment, which gives it a real kind of texture and a little bit of savagery on the nose, a bit wild. And wine like that couldn't come from anywhere else but chalk. This is the kind of wine where your heart immediately goes, well, it's probably from Champagne, isn't it? Because that's the only place we normally taste these flavours. And it's a very good wine. It's rich, it's pure, broad, very concentrated. You can taste the 3 or 4 years they're in there. It's very fresh disgorgement. I can taste that it's quite a new bottling, but it has this richness which makes it taste almost sweet. I'm pretty sure the dosage isn't that high, but it tastes sweet, and that's the concentration of fruit. It's a lovely wine. Better be 100 quid. Would I buy it for 100 quid? Well, I think a lot of people probably would.
So there you have it, the Coty Coeur de Cuvée 2013 from Chapeldown. In some ways this is a wine that's analogous to the Champagne Clos, and in this country you might want to compare it with the Tillington wines from Nightimber. In both cases these are vintage English sparkling wines produced from small vineyard areas which are believed to produce fruit of exceptional quality. In Tillington's case, based primarily on Pinot Noir, whereas Coty is 100% Chardonnay. Is this wine worth £100? Well, that all depends upon your interest or obsession with English sparkling wines. For me, it's a delicious mouthful, although I'm not convinced it's absolutely the best English sparkling wine that I've ever tasted. On the other hand, it is of a particular place and of a particular time. So if your interest in English sparkling wines is deep, then you're going to want to ensure that you have quite a few bottles of this in your cellar, and I think in years to come you'll come to regard this as being one of the classics. In which case you'll want to make sure that you've got a consignment coming your way pretty soon. I'm Tony Eva, thanks for watching.